time to Safe Space Talks and Mind Mastery. Today is International Women's Day. So, as you see, I got my afro, power to the people, and salute. As you see, we're giving tribute to all the women around the world. We are here to discuss menopause, a discussion that's something that we need to talk about as women
Yeah.
because it's not a secret, guys. And it's affecting men because men are like, my wife is crazy, but I'm here to tell you she's not. She's just going through a moment. Okay. And we're professionals, but I do want you to know that we will say very important things and they may relate to you, but we encourage you to seek outside a second opinion, but we are available and you can reach us at safespacetalks@gmail.com. Now, menopause, some people are confused. They think it's from this age to that age, but I found out it's anywhere between 30 years old and 60 years old. Did you hear me? I said 30 years old. I was like, oh, I'm glad it happened later for me in my latter part of the lifetime. Let me tell y'all something. Okay, can I just be real with y'all? It was messy. You know, the only thing I'm glad about is that I didn't gain weight because menopause you can gain weight. I didn't have no brain fog. To God be the glory, because but my highest complaint was the night sweats and the hot flashes. And the night sweats were so bad, I felt like I almost threw my arm out, tossing the covers off of me and then tossing them back on to me. And I had to try to do something to stop that because, you get hot in the bed and you're just like, and then I'm throwing my arm out. But one of the things that causes the hot sweats, the night sweats and the hot flashes is in your brain, and it's called the hypothalamus. Did I say that right, guys? Because we back it up. Okay, see, let me tell y'all, they're the professionals. I'm the layman. Okay, they're gonna give it to you all. And this is why look, I was hot and cold, and it was disturbing. But last week we were talking about foods and how they alter your mind and everything. Dr. Sharmy is with me. Wave, Dr. Sharmy. And Latoya is with me. And y'all should all know us by now, but I just wanted to give them a shout out and let you know who's who. We was talking about foods that affect the brain. Now, one of the things I learned was that food is important when you're going through menopause as well. So there's foods like there's flax seeds, sesame seeds, there peaches, dry fruits, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. Those are my two favorite vegetables. Um, and some other stuff I'll think about. I'm just like I can't always remember these things, but that's very important. So eat right, no stress. Stress adds on to causing other discomforts while you're in the season of menopause. So I'm going to pass it over to Latoya, and she will be able to tell you some more stuff about estrogen and all of that.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Latoya Nabadi, and thank you for joining us. And yes, today we're going to be talking about menopause, women, and mental health. And so, as Nigeria was saying, yes, our bodies go through so much. There's so many physical changes, and because they're physical changes, they're biochemical changes, there are mental changes.
Yeah.
And so when a woman goes through menopause, whether it's just organically happening just because of her age, or whether it's medically induced because it can be induced
Mm.
by medications as well, the side effects and the symptoms can be the same. And so many times we'll experience irritability, agitation, anxiety, increase in panic attacks, increase in depression. As Nigeria talked about, brain fog and memory loss, which kind of sometimes mimic like ADHD.
Mm.
Sometimes people are worried about, oh my God, do I have dementia? What's going on? You know, so
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
people can also lose confidence, right? If you think about the things that happen, there's changes in your skin, there are changes in your hair. Sometimes people will have hair loss, people can gain weight. Um, it can affect lubrication, right? When you're intimate with your partner, and these are things a lot of people might not want to discuss, but it is real, right? And it happens. And so
Yeah.
then you feel embarrassed because you're dry and you wonder, like, what in the world's going on? And you start feeling some kind of way, right? You start
Hmm.
losing
Hmm.
some confidence. And then, and because of those changes, you can feel depressed or you can feel sad. And so I know for me, I had a condition called endometriosis. And because of that, I had to take a shot, a double Lupron shot, and it put my body through menopause, shut all of my female hormones down. And so I went through night sweats, I went through the dryness, I went through the skin changes, right? The dry skin, the acne, all kind of stuff. And they didn't tell me that if I would be on that shot for a couple of years, it could affect my bone density. And so I started having a lot of musculoskeletal pain too. And so even though chronologically, I guess I am at an age that I could go through menopause, but it's not normal to go through menopause at my age. There are some people who have early menopause, but
Right,
I went through that in my late 20s. And
right.
so if you could imagine being in your late 20s, going through all those things, what it could do to you mentally. And so I experienced the depression, I experienced the anxiety, and nobody told me that. Nobody shared with me that these are the side effects that can happen with this shot. And so menopause can happen to women at many different ages, like Nigeria said, from 30 unto 60. But it
Yeah.
could also happen much earlier if you are on medications that can cause
Wow,
menopause.
wow.
So today we just kind of wanted to tap into the subject because there are some people who, may be experiencing depression, anxiety, or irritability and things like that for the first time. And they may be premenopausal and don't even know. But because of the hormonal shift, it's affecting your mental health as well. So, Dr. Sharma, you got anything?
Hey, but listen, this is a good topic because like they're saying, just the concept as women, like, listen, we celebrate all of our beautiful women out there across the
Yes.
world. Listen, y'all, they gave us a day. Look here. International Day for
You're
Women.
right.
Come on. So we a little excited. So we representing today,
That's
y'all.
right.
For
Yes.
That's
real. We
right.
are representing our women today. And with that, we were talking about such a touchy topic to so many
Right.
people. Some people are very touchy about the concepts of menopause. But here's the thing, as women, we all gonna go through it. But
Mm-hmm.
the
That
thing
part.
is, get and you can really try to get in front of it, meaning know how to deal with certain things. One of the things, I'm a stickler that a lot of times we perish because we lack the informational knowledge in
Mm-hmm.
order to help to guard ourselves. One of the things I like to say, we have to put guard rails around our mental state, right?
Right.
Yes,
You
it's
can
true.
put guardrails around your mind. It's possible
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And when you're thinking about the concepts of menopause and different things like that, and for as you get older, and like Latoya was saying, like even for some younger people, because I have a sister who started experiencing the dynamics symptoms when she was in her 20s. And so when she
Wow.
was in her 30s, you know what I'm saying? She began to go through the whole concept. So by the early age of like 40, I think probably before that, she was cycle free. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And
yeah.
so it's the dynamics that, for some people, like Latoya said, some people it's medically induced, some things are
Mm-hmm.
genetically, our genetics and our makeup and
Yeah.
our family line will cause us to go through things beforehand. Some of
Mm-hmm.
us go through things later. But listen, as women, we're going to go through this. And so, how
Yeah.
do you handle these particular things, or just handle menopause, period,
Yeah.
when as a woman you begin to go through all these different, what I like to call your cycling, right? Now listen here. Now, number one, we already, many people have experienced horrible menstrual cycles. Listen, y'all,
Right.
let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
have experienced horrible menstrual cycles, and then
Mm-hmm.
we got to get up in this elder age, and we thinking, oh, it's gonna calm down, and then we got to go through some more cycling. But this type
Right.
of cycling is called emotional cycling.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
cycle emotionally, and so now we have to learn how to bring our mindsets under control and not allow the emotions to just take us here and take us there. Because did you know there's also a such thing called menopausal schizophrenia?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Menopausal schizophrenia, for some of you who do not know, that's a real thing.
Mhm.
Psychosis is real, and it will take you to a place, right? And
Mhm.
this is
Right.
why, we have even discussed, me in Nigeria, just how, people have literally killed their spouses or just
That's right.
different people
Mm-hmm.
just because of the mental pressure of going through menopause, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real, it's reality,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not always dealt with, especially in a safe, in a space like this, where you're just able to openly and discuss these things to the whole world, like, hey, we do
Yeah.
suffer from so many things. Somebody, and I don't know, they may have menopausal groups out there, because we need those things.
That's
We
right.
need to
So
understand
important. Yeah.
how to handle our emotional state when we feel those times of frustration, when
Mm-hmm.
we feel those times of panic, when we feel like we're losing it and we don't know what's going on. Because
Right.
imagine, listen, y'all, look, brothers, let me just say this. We know, y'all have some, y'all got, y'all, but listen, no, 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 no. You
Yeah.
don't have it as bad as we
That's
do
right.
Right.
in
Yeah.
the world, honestly.
Yeah.
Just think on it. We go through emotional issues when we having babies. We go through emotional issues every time we come on a cycle. And
That's
then
right.
now we getting older thinking we finna just calm things down, and we still got to guard these
Mm-hmm.
emotions. You understand what I'm
Yes.
saying?
That's right.
And so the mental things that happens with our mindsets, right? We have to be able to govern our minds, even in the midst of everything that will go on. And listen, nobody can tell me, well, I just can't. Can I help you? That's a cop out. You're lying
Mm-hmm.
to yourself to be able to say it's impossible for you to learn how to govern your emotional state, regardless to what you're going through. Listen, I
Mm-hmm.
have a whole, and for my nurses and doctors and whoever else will listen to this, I have a whole pituitary gland issue. Like literally, mine is just not even connected. It's
That's
just not even.
Yeah.
It's not.
wow.
It's, everybody else is in the
Mm-hmm.
world. Theirs is
Yeah.
connected, or even those
Wow.
that may be going through some things with pituitary
Mm-hmm.
glands, they're still connected, and they just have issues. Mine is not connected. And so
Wow.
I so if and I'm gonna let Latoya even just touch on that concept, that gland that produces everything to
Everything.
Yeah.
make you function properly in life.
Yeah.
Mine's
Yeah.
just mine's is just like when they
Yeah.
show me the MRI, it's literally just laying right there, and I'm like, that's kind
That's
of
fascinating because if you would think about that it's almost like a mother gland that is responsible for releasing hormones to other glands to for them to work. And so if your pituitary gland is out, it's affecting your thyroid. You
That's
know, your thyroid is affecting your heart, it's affecting your metabolism, it affects your mood. You know, that's why people
right.
who have hypothyroid or hyperthyroidism can be really anxious or really down and depressed. Everything is slowed down, their metabolism is slow, they want to sleep all the time, or everything is revved up. Your sex hormones. So really and truly, you know, to have a detached pituitary gland, you would think that you every almost every system in your body would be affected. So that
Wow.
just shows you the just the greatness of God,
Yeah.
and that, you
Yeah.
know, you can really do anything through Christ, because science
Mhm.
says that it's supposed to be this way, but
Come
you know,
on.
our God is above all science. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Doesn't
That's right.
matter what science or what a doctor could tell you, you know, what diagnosis you may have, you can go above it. You know, you can rise above that. You have to just tap into your source. And our God is a healer. Our God is a restorer. And so, what are you identifying with? You know, is the thing,
Mhm.
because sometimes we can have these diagnoses and we take on ownership of that and we become that
That's what
very
we're
thing.
talking about.
And
Yeah.
so if you
Yeah.
tell yourself, you know, yeah, that's God's problem. He got he's got to fix it. You know,
Mhm.
I don't take that. I don't receive that for myself.
Right.
Um, and Lord, we got work to do. And so, and many times, you know, we'll see the fruit of that. If you take on that identity, it's like, oh my God, like you said, Dr. Charmy, I just can't help it. You know, I'm just moody. I'm just in a
Right.
mood
Right.
today,
Right.
or I'm just
Mhm.
this and I'm just that, and using it as an excuse. You're going to stay that way.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
you're absolutely going to stay that way because your body is responding to your mind. It's responding to, you know, the Bible says to guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of
Right.
life. You know, that heart is your subconscious mind. Guard your mind with all
Mhm.
diligence, because out of it
Mhm.
flows the issues of life. So everything that you're constantly thinking on or you're focusing on, you're going to see, you're going to reap that harvest. And if you feel like, well, because I'm going through menopause, you know, I can be cranky, I can be mean, I can be nasty, I
That's
just can't
good.
help it. No, you
That's
can
good.
help it if you want to help it.
Right.
And so, if you look at your life too, people who have had a history of anxiety and depression, oftentimes it will come back during menopause, and it can come back worse during menopause.
Mm.
So if you already
Mm.
know that during your cycle you are very moody, because we could be PMSing during our cycle. Some people have a lot of nausea and vomiting during their cycle. So if you already know you're very sensitive to those hormone shifts, you could pretty much know that you got to prepare for that, and you prepare for it
Right.
mentally first. You know that when this happened, this is not going to be my story. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to fortify my mind.
Right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
good.
One thing I love about this at Safe Space Talks, my mastery is one, we are not saying or sharing anything we personally haven't already been through. um, and we speak plainly about it because there's no other way to help anyone else if we're sugarcoating anything. So I just want everybody to know that we are concerned about your mental wellness. That's our priority. And to express it in a way that you can
Hmm.
understand or get a second opinion. We're not liable to a major station that we have to curb what we say. We can say what we want to say. And when we talk about hormones and our estrogen levels, when they're high, you feel okay, you have the energy. And when you're going through menopause, when your estrogen levels are low, then that's when you're feeling sleepy, and that's when you're feeling, sluggish, and you don't want to do anything. And that's why eating is important. I'm going to stay on the food, right? That's
Mhm.
why eating right and correctly is important to kind of just balance out. With mental health, you just have to learn the tools to balance yourself out. And we're here to
Hmm.
tell you it's possible. It's
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And those hormonal shifts can even exacerbate other conditions that you may have already been diagnosed.
possible.
I see it often with patients who have had, like, who've been kind of hypomanic. And then
Right.
once they started going through menopause and start going through other stressors, did they become manic? And so then they will develop
Mm.
psychosis oftentimes, or be in a delusional state. And their family's like, I don't know what's going on. She's been fine. She's worked hard. She's, a
Right.
manager of this, and she's got this business, and she's doing that. And all of a sudden, she wants to run for president, or she doesn't trust anybody, and she's very paranoid. And so it's oftentimes when you look at it, like, okay, it was probably the menopause. It's probably
Right.
that um, shift hormonally that has exacerbated that condition. And sometimes people have not even known. But if you look through their life and see how their sleeping habits, you see their personality traits, you're like, okay, this was a bipolar diagnosis that was undiagnosed. She was probably
Mm.
hypomanic the whole time. And then once she got to that state when she started to experience those hormonal shifts, then it's like a circuit is tripped. And then now the person is experiencing mania and oftentimes have to be hospitalized because it's so severe. And so you think about how that disrupts a person. I have a patient who worked for 40 years in a position, worked very hard, and all of a sudden just started going through in a psychotic state, and had to be hospitalized and multiple times because she didn't, like, she didn't understand that
Right.
diagnosis and didn't want to be medicated, and she ended up losing her job. Now, can you imagine at that age losing
Right.
your job? You've done something for 40 years, that's all you know how to do. And so when
Right.
you try and go and find another job, no one will hire you. That will make you feel worse. It'll make you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
worthless. It'll make you feel like, you're not contributing. And then financially, what in the
Right.
world are you going to do? Because I
Right.
don't have no money. So she
Right.
had to exhaust all of her 401k. And it's just
Mm.
sad to see that. So, this stuff is serious.
It's
And
real.
we
Yeah.
play around with it, right? You hear women say, oh man, I better do something. I'm going to kill my husband. No, people will kill their spouses. Like,
That's
people
right.
hurt their family members because they
Right.
don't understand what they're going through. So it's not just something that we should just take lightly. Like, we
That's right.
really have to delve into this and discuss these things with our family and just say, yo, I need y'all to help. I need y'all to do more around the house. I need you to stop. Right now is not the day. I need
Yeah.
you. We
Yes.
Yes.
gotta have some balance. Quit pulling on me. I'm already here. I need you to help me, or I need you to clean up your own room. I need you to fix your own food. I need you to stop calling my name. We got to work together because I'm not balanced right now.
Right. And
Mhm.
that's important too. And again, when you visit the doctor, that, between the ages, that's something that you don't even mention. Like something could be
Mm-hmm.
going on in your body. And I'm just suggesting that if you're between those ages and they can't figure it out, ask them, am I going through menopause? Now, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
there's I guess they can check your levels to
Mm-hmm. I
determine
send them.
that.
I always refer people out if I
Yeah.
suspect that. If
Right.
I
Right.
have
So
a
let's
person
just
that
know that
comes,
that's
yeah.
that's something you should be consider when you visit the doctor to ask, am I going through menopause?
Yeah, I'll refer them to OBGYN and just have them run their labs and see. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, if I know, because a lot of times women know when they come, like, I
Right.
am
Right.
going through menopause, and it's okay. Well, you might want to do some estrogen or something. Like, you might want to do some hormone replacement therapy. And even with that, you got to do your due diligence, do your
Right.
research. You got to count up. Like you
Do.
always say, count up the cost. You got to look at your
Yeah.
risk, versus benefits. And you got to see, because if you have a history of certain cancers and stuff in your family, you got to be
Mm,
careful about certain hormone replacements, right?
wow.
You got to be careful if you have any bleeding disorders or things like that.
Yes.
Mhm.
So definitely talk to your health professional to see if it's right for you. Sometimes it might not be right for you. You have to do something natural, a black cohosh or something. You got to
Right.
go the more natural way
Way.
way to try and mitigate some of those symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really good. And like when you were even saying, just go get checked out. And here's the deal: a lot of people don't even go to the doctor and say, "Hey, I need you to
I
just
feel a
run
change.
my levels. Like I
Mm-hmm.
need to know all of what's going on within my body so that I can get ahead of it and not stay
Mm-hmm.
behind it." Because
Mhm.
um, this is what I love about the Lord, because the Lord tells us that He will just not allow stuff to just come out the woodworks on us. Like you
Mhm.
should not be surprised. Like I'm
Right.
just talking about the God we serve. The God we
Mhm.
serve, he wants to keep us in front of certain things, and our
Mhm.
lagging is what keeps us behind, because God said he's not just going to allow our enemy to come and overtake us in any area. He said
Right.
that we are to know consistently what his will is, and he
Mhm.
also told us that he will not leave us ignorant of the enemy schemes and devices concerning our lives. And
Yeah.
I'm just crazy enough to believe everything that he said. I really am. And
Yeah.
so that does not negate, though, the fact that he's given us responsibilities to take care of
Mhm.
these temples that we have.
Mhm.
And so even when I think I'm on myself, right, and I'm like, I went to, and I'm like, listen, I'm going through menopause, so lady, you call it pre, you do. And she was like, well, and so here's the deal, right? So here's the
Yeah.
deal, though. She checks my levels. She comes back and she says, OB doctor. And she was like, well, your levels are not showing this. And here's the thing. She said my levels didn't show it. But guess what happened? I didn't come on for a whole year.
Mhm.
And so how is my
Yeah.
levels not showing it? And I'm telling you the symptoms,
Right.
but you check the levels, right?
Mhm.
And because the level seems not to coincide with whatever you
Yeah.
thought, you telling me that I wasn't, when in reality I knew I was.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are also some things that we also have to understand too, that you're in control of your body. Just
Mhm.
because, I love this part, practicing physicians. Yeah, I got to
Mhm.
say that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Practicing physicians, meaning that they
Mhm.
are practicing medicine.
Medicine.
They
Mhm.
are practicing it. But I know somebody who does not practice anything.
Come
And
on.
all I have to do is say, hey, such and such ain't right, God. You got to
Right.
show me
Mm-hmm.
what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
God will tell you what's going on
Mhm.
with you, because
Yeah.
he will not leave you in the dark. So even when they can't find it, it does not mean that something is not wrong with you. Do you
Yeah.
know how many people who went to the doctor and they knew something was going on, and now they kept saying, we can't find nothing, we can't
Yeah.
find nothing, we can't
Yeah.
find nothing, we can't.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna keep telling me, so now you making me feel like I'm crazy,
And they
Right.
right?
will, and they'll send you a
Yeah.
site because they can't find it. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes, no, seriously, oftentimes, clinicians chase and treat symptoms and treat labs, but there are some things that can't be explained by that stuff. And so that's why you have to, it's important for you to have a provider that treats the whole person and can listen, because you are so right. There are people who've had, I had a cousin who was gone for lumps under her arm for months, and she finally was like, I've told you that this is what's going on. She had cancer. They missed it for months, and I think, thanks be to God, she's
Right.
still here and she's doing very well. But
Right.
what does that do to her faith in medicine?
Right.
What does it do to, she might not trust another doctor again, and she might need to go for something else, and she's like, no, they didn't listen to me the first time. So as clinicians, we have to be able to listen to what our patients are saying, and then as patients, because I'm a patient too, we've got to be
Right.
able to advocate for ourselves
Ourselves. That's
and
the
know
key.
that, what, just because they didn't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't
It
exist.
doesn't
I
exist.
need to find somebody who's going to listen to me. You don't have to stay with that doctor because you've been with them for 20 years.
You're right.
If they, if
Right.
they're not listening to you, and sometimes, Dr. Sharmi, what I've found is that when I've sent patients to their PCP for, something as simple as vitamin D labs,
Mhm.
or, I need to make sure that your iron levels are straight, or, I need to check your thyroid. Um, they don't want to do it. There
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of providers that, well, you don't need to do that. You don't. What do you mean? Sometimes people can experience sadness. They can experience
Right.
just lack of motivation. They can be experiencing these things, and it could be their vitamin D deficiency. And you don't want to check the vitamin D levels. Why? Because if they do the lab and it's abnormal, they got to do something about it.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not even going to do the lab because it might come back abnormal, and I don't want to do anything about it. I don't have the time. So you got to be able to advocate for yourself and find providers that listen to you, that's willing to do what you need done.
And
Yeah.
I like what she said about, just because you've been at a doctor for 20
For
years
years. Yeah.
don't mean you have to stay
To
with
stay
them.
with it.
Because I remember when I was dealing with some issues, this has been years ago, And I didn't know what was going on, and I was going to every doctor, and no doctor couldn't find anything. And then I said, you know what? It's Lord, direct me to the right person. Went to this Jewish doctor. Okay. This man, I told him my symptoms. He
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, let me check this,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it sounds like. Do you understand the very thing that, I mean, they checked my heart. These other people had put me on that machine for the heart to run and see nothing. They couldn't find nothing. We don't know what like I'm telling y'all, something's happening. And what was
Right.
happening was really killing me because it was
Mm-hmm.
an infection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it was killing me literally, right? And I'll never forget the time my pastor at the time, he was like, the devil wants to kill you, but the Lord said no.
Right,
Mm.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, so I went to this Jewish doctor. He said, let me check you for this. When he checked me for that, it was spot on. So he was able
Mhm.
to treat me
Yeah.
Right, right.
for what was really going on. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about a lot of times. And this here's the thing, I like doctors that go to the root. Because most
Mm-hmm.
people treat the symptoms, but they don't
Symptoms,
treat the
right,
root
right,
cause.
right.
Don't keep treating every time. Yeah, I do know every time we go to the doctor for like, I mean, go into the stores and get medication for different things. Honey, you're just treating the symptom. You're not
The
treating the
Mhm.
symptom.
cause. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
that's the thing. We treat symptoms and we don't understand what's the cause
The
of this
root.
symptom, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be able to understand or even try to connect with doctors that really understand I want to deal with the root issue. Like even for many people, and we're talking about menopause, but like even for many people, even some have blood pressure issues. They can't find out why your blood pressure high. Honey,
Mm-hmm.
Right,
most of the
right,
time it has to do with your stress
With your
level.
diet and
Yeah,
right,
stress.
your
Yeah.
right. Stress,
diet,
yeah.
stress, diet, and if you change those things, like how are you handling stress? Because even
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with chronic stress, that's that stress that it does not eat. She laughing. When you're dealing
Yes.
with the chronic stressors,
Yes.
that chronic stress is the type of stress that you've been dealing with it for so long that it has
Yeah.
become a part of
It
your
just
norm.
become normal.
That's
You
right.
don't
Mm-hmm.
even know that you're
Yeah.
stressed because you have been in it for so long and it's
Mm-hmm.
becoming the normalcy for your life. And now take that with somebody who's dealing with menopause, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Right.
Yeah.
already in a
Mhm.
chronic place of stress that you're dealing with. You don't even realize that you're stressing any longer, right? You was realizing that first, but now it has become a part of you that you think you're over in it. And now you come into this place where menopausal symptoms begin to affect you. And then
Right.
next thing you know, you're blowing up. You seem like
Right.
you're mentally insane. You don't
That's
know
Mm-hmm.
what
right.
to do.
That's
And all of these issues is going on in your body. And now your physical body begins to go
Mm-hmm.
down and
that's
down and
right.
down.
That's
You
right.
don't know why you aching. You don't know
Yep.
why there's pain in your body. You don't know why you can't sleep. You don't know why
That's
you
right.
having
That's
brain
right.
fog. You don't know why
Mm-hmm.
your diet is off kill. You gaining weight.
Wait,
You
Yeah.
was
yeah.
small, now
Hungry.
you obese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Thirsty.
saying? You
Yeah.
just like, what is going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I
Waking up in the middle of the
promise
night
you,
eating.
you hear me? Like what? Like why am I having like you? And you like this is not me. You know, I
Right.
was
Right.
going through pictures. Listen, y'all, I was going through pictures last night. I was like, oh, I was so skinny. Oh, look how little I was.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening? You know, and so,
Yeah.
but here's the deal. Because I know my body is going, because you can't stop your body. Okay, let me help you guys. You cannot stop your body from doing what it's going to do,
Go
but
do.
you can address the things in
Mm-hmm.
order for your body to be healthy. We
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yes.
have to get, oh, it's that time of the month. Yeah, I know. Oh, I
Oh,
just need to eat this. I need to
yeah.
eat that. Stop
Right.
making an excuse.
Yeah.
You don't
But
have to have all
you
that time.
can cause your body to go through something before it's supposed to by
Yeah.
Mm.
severe stress,
Yes, you can.
severe whether it's severe obesity or anorexia and being underweight. You can
Mm.
shut your hormones down that way too. And so I don't a lot of times we don't think about that. We don't think
Right.
about how that severe stress or that chronic stress that you're talking about, Dr. Sharmi, how it can cause us to go through some things that we might not have. Our bodies probably was designed to go through menopause at 49. Or because we're carrying that chronic stress around,
Yeah.
we're affecting ourselves, and then we going through it at 39 or 40.
Right.
And so if you think about a person who is 30 and go through menopause, what that does psychologically, we know that if we may not be able to have any more children, all sorts of stuff. So if
Right.
things
Right.
shut down before you even have kids, now
Mhm.
what does it do to your mind? Now you feel like you're not, you're less than a woman. Now you feel like, man, I can't give my husband any children. So these types of things affect us in so many levels, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, menopause is just something that's going to happen. And we want you to definitely be aware of these symptoms because sometimes you don't know something until it's right up on you.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a headache and you take something over the counter, it goes away, right? It's treating the symptom. But then it comes back again, maybe weeks later, and it's stronger, right? And only to lead to possible migraines, right? So your body, what I love, it's gonna alert you that something is wrong. Like Dr. Sharma was
Mm-hmm.
saying, something is wrong. You guys may not be able to figure it out, but something is wrong. A perfect example, I went to the dentist and I kept telling him, I have this pain in my tooth. I have this pain. He's putting water and he's tapping it, but it I didn't have no reaction because whatever he was doing to see if whatever the diagnosis he thought it may have been, I just didn't have no response. So he took an X-ray, and the X-ray he didn't see much. I go home that night. I'm like, oh no. So I call him the next morning. I'm like, listen, I can't even talk. Like, what
Mm.
happened? When I go to him, he takes a 3D X-ray and he sees the problem. And then he made me pay. He wanted me to pay him for the 3D. So and I'm arguing with my hurt mouth, talking about, well, why you didn't do it yesterday when I told you, you know. So for people who go and you have a toothache, tell them to do the super duper X-ray so you don't have to pay for it twice. But anyway, our bodies alert us, and it all
Mm-hmm.
again stems from this beautiful mind we have that allows us to help run the system. I like how Dr. Charmy said one time, it's like the engine to a car. You can't drive the car
Mm-hmm.
with no engine. Our mind is our engine, and it's going to let us know, like a car lets you know it needs oil. The oil light will come on, the brake light will come on, and it'll alert you.
Yeah.
So during this season of menopause, if you're going through it, be mindful of your emotions because it's definitely one that assaults the emotional part of you. So once you know that these are the things that you're facing, again, Latoya, like you said, talk to the kids. Okay, listen up, crew, right? This is what we're doing this week. I promise you, I
Yes.
don't want to beat you because it might not be your normal pow pow. So
Just
it might
get
hurt
back.
differently this time. So teamwork,
Mm-hmm.
get your house in order. Talk to your husband, talk to your significant other and say, listen, my body. So they're not like, what's wrong with you? What is
Come on.
wrong with you?
Yes.
You're like, ain't nothing wrong with me. Meanwhile, something's wrong with you.
Right. Be honest.
Something's wrong with
Okay.
you.
Be honest to
Okay.
yourself about
So,
yourself.
admitting is the first step to being healed, right? Okay, something's wrong with me, and many of you know my struggle, my challenge was with PTSD. So, when I was having my moments, I would be like, okay, something's happening. Not today's not a good day. I'm not feeling myself, So your
Mm-hmm.
body's off. Let's communicate. See, we at Safe Space Talks, we're going to talk about it. Communicate with the person in your circle. Call your girlfriend and say, look, hey, I've been feeling kind of, weird. You
Come
know,
on.
would you go with me to the doctor? Would you visit me to the doctor? God bless my sis. When I called and was like, I feel, and she was like, I'll go with you. you know,
Mm-hmm.
just immediately. It was like, girl, I will go with you. So get your support. Get your
Take the right
support.
one though.
Right, right. We'll
You
be
know,
all on
if you take the
Facebook.
one that's gonna get on your
Right.
nerves even
Your
more.
business be all out there on Instagram. I took my friend, she crazy. You know, and maybe, I always say when you find yourself bumping with the people you love, come on now. You love them. If you find that there's this just little, check yourself, right? The Bible says,
Yeah.
examine yourself. Take time,
Yeah.
sit, pause, talk to the Lord. Say, listen, what's going on? I promise you, He's going to tell you it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I
sometimes you
just
gotta
want to let
clean
you
up
know.
what
I
you're
wanted to
doing.
let you know it's you. It's not them,
Yeah.
it's you. You know,
Yeah. Sometimes you
What you
gotta take an assessment on all the things that you have. Sometimes you might have to take your cape off, right? We love being superwoman, but there are
right,
some times where
right,
you've got to lighten your load. Because right now it's not the time. I would love to, but I can't.
right.
You got to get real acquainted with no. you know um
Right, that's what, that's my
that
favorite.
acquainted with
part?
the no.
No, right,
I would love to, but I can't right now.
right.
I'm not available. Like, you've got to be honest with yourself and determine kind of, why am I doing so many different things,
Mhm.
and what can I live without doing, what's necessary, right? How do I prioritize, because right now I just don't have the infrastructure to deal with it all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
The
And that's
capacity.
good.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want to say as we are coming to the end of this,
Mhm.
again, women, we celebrate you. We
Yeah.
want you to
Yes.
know you guys rock. I know I rock.
Yes.
Listen, let me
Yeah.
tell you
Right.
about
Right.
Charmy. She rocks, baby. Listen, but you rock and we celebrate you. But one of the things we have to do is learn how, because we are emotional beings, y'all. Y'all know we
Mm-hmm.
can be emotional. We have to learn how to pull in the reins of our emotions
Yeah.
really more than men do, because we face all these other dynamics in life.
Mm-hmm.
We carry so much. Y'all know we carriers, right? Just
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
God created women to carry.
Right.
That's why we give
Yeah.
birth, because He
Mm-hmm.
created us to carry things. And so, but many of us are carrying things that we need to actually release. Like Latoya saying, I gotta release this. I can't be your
Yeah.
superwoman. See, we
Right.
got messed up when we were saying, I'm not your soup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. See, we like that superhero shoe. She come on, girl.
Right.
I'm like a
I'm every
superwoman.
woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not every woman. I'm not
Mm-mm.
her. You know what I'm saying?
No, you
And
you might
so
not be super, but you better get in the supernatural, because you're gonna love it.
Okay. 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 That part.
and
That
so
part.
I love it. I love it. But she's right, because we have to allow God to help us to govern these things. And
Come
the reason that
on.
I shared about the pituitary gland, because if you somebody who understands clinical,
Mm.
there's no way I should be just mm-mm,
Mm-mm.
Right.
mm. But
Right.
because
No.
I know a
Come on.
king that's fully
Yes.
able. I know a king that's fully able to keep those who truly want to be
Be
kept.
kept.
Yes.
Like see,
Yes.
That's my thing.
I
He'll
want to
keep
be
you if you
kept.
want to be kept.
Come on.
Like
Ah,
seriously, because
that's
I
what
know
Dr.
I
Shawnee
cannot
trying to say.
keep myself. I can't keep this mind of mine, y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Shot me with something else, honey. She needed her some doses of Jesus, a lot of him.
Listen,
Seriously, hey,
you and me both.
Jesus. My God. And
Yeah.
so being able to help me to govern my emotional state. So let's
Mm-hmm.
stop making excuses. Really, let's stop making excuses and get the help that we
We need.
need. We
Mm.
need the help. And this is what safe
Yeah.
space is. We want to support you on your journey of wellness, of
Mm.
mental wellness.
Yes.
We
Yes.
want to support and push you forward into greatness. That's why we come on here. We want you to be a great version of yourself.
You.
See, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people want to be a version, but they're not they're versions of
Mm.
somebody else.
Come
Mm-mm.
on.
I need to be the best version of Shorty. I don't
Uh,
need to be the
yes.
best version of anybody else. See, because
Come
see,
on.
I don't have the capacity to carry what you carrying, just like you
Come
may
on.
not have the capacity to carry what I'm carrying. So Charmy's
Yes.
comfortable with being
Mm-hmm.
Charmy. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? So we have to
Mm-hmm.
be
Unapologetically.
original, is what I'm
Yes.
saying. So God gives us the ability to pull in the reins of those
Mhm.
emotions, even going through menopausal states and
Yeah.
symptoms.
It's
Trust me.
true.
So
Yeah.
I done been through menopause. I'm in menopause now, so I'm just gonna tell y'all. Listen, I'm in menopause now. Okay, my pituitary gland is not connected. Okay, I didn't battle with schizophrenia, bipolar, what depression, panic, anxiety,
Mm.
bulimia. I've
Look at
done it.
God.
I've
Yeah.
battled with it. But look at what the Lord has
Come
done.
on.
Done. Come
That's all
on.
I'm saying. So nobody,
Mm.
listen, I
Yeah.
don't care who you are, you will never be able to tell me that God cannot keep and
Come
God will not
on.
perfect those
That's
Yes.
things that concerns us. You will never be able to convince me that you don't have the ability to be what God told you that you can be or
Yeah.
who he said that you can be. No, that's
Come
a
on.
decision. I had to
That's it. Make
pour
a
myself
Woo.
decision.
underneath that. You understand what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I had to pour myself to come into submission under what God wanted because my
Mm-hmm.
flesh didn't want it. Come
Come
on, we don't
on.
want to talk about
Yeah.
that. My flesh
Yes.
didn't want. My flesh enjoys sinning. Y'all, come
Mm-hmm.
on.
Yeah.
But
That's so
because
true.
I knew that God had something greater, and I didn't want to be all over the place, I made a decision. And
Right.
that's what we're here at Safe Space saying. Make a decision for your great.
Mm.
Make a
Yes.
Yes.
decision to be great in life. Make a
Mm.
decision to shift your mind, women. Make a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
decision not to give over to menopause and all these other things that will come to just try to pull you in. It's a decision, honey.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. To be
Decision.
a better version of yourself,
Yes.
because you can, and we are witnesses. We tell you no
Any,
lie. We
anything
Yes.
else,
tell you no lie.
Latoya? Nigeria?
No,
Okay.
No, I'm
I
good.
just I want to thank you for just your transparency,
Transparency. Yeah.
and just because what it does, it just shows just how great God truly is. And it just reminds me that there is no excuse. There is no excuse. It is a decision. You can allow it to rule your life. You can allow it to affect your relationships. You can allow it to ruin your jobs. It could ruin you economically if you want to, or you can choose to rise above it and tap into your source, and you could be supernaturally a woman instead of being a
Yeah.
superwoman.
That
you
part.
know
That
and
part.
so God can do anything. We
Yeah.
we limit
Do
him, and
anything
we'll
but
we'll listen
fail.
to anything else we can receive without question.
Yeah.
But when God say I can make you whole,
Come
we'll
on now.
question that.
Jesus.
That's right.
No,
That's
the
right.
woman with the issue of blood, he made her whole.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be, and that's what I want you
that's
to
what we
be,
want to be.
whole.
That's
And
what
we're
we
just
are. Right.
this is just a seed, right? This is
Mhm.
just information to get you started. We don't have all the answers, but we
Right.
can just use our stories and use our experiences, just to be a seed for you, so that you can take it and you can grow it and you can continue to expound upon it, and it just gives you awareness so that you can do the work that you need to do.
Yeah. And it's
Mhm.
okay to talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
safe space talks. It's okay to talk about it.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. And knowing that we perish because we lack knowledge.
Yeah.
yeah,
And so we
yeah,
bring you knowledge so you don't have to perish.
That's right.
yes.
You there? We're
Yeah.
bringing you knowledge
Hmm.
so you don't have to perish. But
That's,
again, the decision is in your court. Women, we celebrate you today. We want
Yes,
yes.
we
you to know
do.
how great you are. We
That's right.
want
You're
you to know that
amazing.
you can do anything
Yes.
that God has told you that you can do.
That's
But
right.
again, at the end of the day, it's all a decision.
Yes.
God bless
Yes.
you.
God
Safe
bless you.
Space Talks. Have a great day and night for
God
where
bless
I'm
everyone.
going. Bye.